Hey everyone, my name's Ash. Welcome to our YouTube channel, and today I'm joined by Fabio, and we're going to be doing our review of the Sea of Thieves, A Pirate's Life DLC. Now, this came out recently, and it is a free DLC expansion. So everyone who's got Sea of Thieves, whether it be through Game Pass, through Steam, through Xbox, or through the Microsoft Store, gets this update absolutely free of charge, and it includes a whole host of awesome tall tales as well as some paid content as well, sort of like cosmetics and stuff like that. I'll quickly read the bio like we do for all of our reviews, and then we'll jump into what we thought of the game. So it says, two pirate worlds collide in Sea of Thieves, A Pirate's Life. Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean sails into Sea of Thieves for an all-new adventure. Captain Jack Sparrow and his infamous crew have sailed in from beyond the horizon to spark an epic original story. Join forces with Jack and venture across, below and beyond the waves as you battle to save the Sea of Thieves. It says journey with Jack Sparrow, set out on a grand adventure alongside Captain Jack Sparrow, the legendary pirate whose arrival on the Sea of Thieves has set in motion an awe-inspiring change of events. Fight back to back with Jack on land or bring him aboard your ship, should I say, as part of your crew. It says take on new tall tales. Sea of Thieves: A Pirate Life unfolds across 5 new cinematic tall tales. Sea of Thieves carefully crafted narrative-driven adventures. So whether you're playing solo or alongside crewmates, you'll be immersed in thrilling battles and puzzles to solve with hidden rewards to discover. Meet familiar faces. On your journey to save the Sea of Thieves, you'll interact with familiar characters from Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, making their grand and exciting debut in Sea of Thieves world. Some will aid you on your adventure, while others stand in fierce opposition to your quest. Explore new locations. Your adventure will carry you across, below and beyond the Sea of Thieves to new horizons filled with secrets and surprises. Some destinations will be instantly recognizable to fans of Jack Sparrow's past adventures, offering the opportunity to explore iconic locations like never before. Battle new enemies. Strange new foes are surfacing in and around the Sea of Thieves, all with their part to play in Sea of Thieves: A Pirate's Life. Claim a trident to return fire against malevolent sirens, raise a blade against nimble pirate phantoms, and be on your guard against lumbering ocean crawlers. And then it says Davy Jones is waiting. The stuff of nightmares for many pirates and one of Jack Sparrow's most formidable enemies. Davy Jones now threatens to destroy the pirate's life as part of his dark ambitions. Even with Jack at your side, saving the Sea of Thieves from Davy Jones will take you all of your courage and skill. So it's a bit of a long bio there, I apologise, but that basically explains the sort of general premise of the game. Now, spoiler alert for this review, we will be talking about all the tall tales. We may spoil some of the story by just discussing it. So if you don't want to know, I apologise. Maybe not listen to this review. But if you're all right with just hearing our thoughts and opinions, then jump right in and join us now. So Fabio, we played through this on Xbox. We played through all 5 tall tales in co-op, and we also played, I believe, Tall Tales 1 and 2 in a full crew of 4 as well.
Yeah. First of all, that was a nice description of the whole thing, and thankfully I can finally tell. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? But yeah, we did play the first and the second Tall Tale with a full crew with 4 people. We had Alucard and Slayer joining us for the first Tall Tale, and then we played the second Tall Tale with randoms that just happened to show up there. And yeah, like I gotta be honest, for everything that the expansion had to offer, it is a pretty well done DLC, especially it is a free DLC, so that's really quite impressive to be honest. The amount of details and references that Rare cared to develop with the within this expansion, to be honest. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I gotta be honest that in my opinion, nothing, not everything is perfect. To be honest,
Yeah,
There
no,
are
I agree
some
with you
small
there.
flaws that I think we should talk about it. But what did you think about, at least in a overall thing of the expansion and whatever?
Yeah, so in for anyone wondering, you can get through this expansion in about 10 hours. I would say each tall tale takes about 2 hours on your first playthrough. If you explore. Now, if you just don't look and you just follow the to point and you don't do any of the um, side missions, you don't look for any of the secrets, any of the like the collectibles, you may get through it quicker. But for just a standard playthrough, and I
Oh
mean
yeah.
we didn't find all the collectibles on all of the tall tales on our playthrough, and
Yep.
I would say it took us about 10 to possibly 11 hours. I would say because the second one was really long. Um, but yeah, like I say, it's the best content Sea of Thieves has had, but it also has a lot of issues that don't necessarily ruin it, but they need to be brought to people's attention. So
Yes.
this started off amazing. So we'll go through it. We'll go through it each tall tale
With
one
each one?
after another and discuss it, and then we'll
Sure.
sort of overview it at the end. So the first one, um, you start on an island. Weirdly, just as I'm talking on the screen, you'll see there's the mysterious lady who sort of explains a bit of the plot. Um,
Oh yeah, this
the knockoff, we
mysterious
called her
Miss
like knockoff. What was she called from Pirates?
Shadalma.
Yeah, knockoff Teodama because she sounds like Teodama, but she's got a hood up and she's not called Teodama.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so
She's the
she sort of
mysterious woman.
yeah, mysterious one explains the plot, and then you get on your ship and you go through a portal. Now, when you go through this portal, it then becomes a private um, game. So there's no other players around. It's just you. It's just story driven PVE, player versus enemy. So there's no griefers, no randoms or out like that. And you start off. I'm trying to remember how the first one goes. You end up on the
In the world of the dead.
yeah, basically, and you have to sneak aboard um the un,
Ferry
the
of the
ferry of the
damned.
damned to save Jack
Exactly.
Sparrow, basically, and his magical
Like
box.
here's the thing, just so people can get a better view of this thing. You know that ship where that you go when you die in the game? So you not just only explore that ship, but you also explore the lands outside that ship. You literally explore an island, a pretty giant island
Yep,
with a really big and deep cave,
yep,
and that is on in this world, in this dead world, to be honest. And like I gotta be honest that this first Tall Tale was a pretty good start, especially because it is way more focused in two things: exploration and the references to the rides, to the
yeah,
Disney rides. So yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot of audio cues actually pulled from the ride in this first Tall Tale, and basically as you're going through, there's like it's like a story and there's like ghostly sort of flashbacks and stuff, and each of these is like narrated with lines from the ride, which is fantastic. But it's not just based on the ride; it's like a weird amalgamation. The whole gate the DLC is like a weird amalgamation of the ride and then odd bits from the film sort of jammed together to make this new story. So like you're going into this like underworld and you pass all of the people in the boats, like where
Where
Keira
Elizabeth
Knightley's
sees
dad's yeah
her
is off on
yeah,
his when he's dead on
exactly.
his little boat, and that was amazing. That's how it starts, and then you get to this island and you meet this captain who's just ahead, and there's a whole sort of story to that. And there's if you go into the extra sort of side missions, it goes quite in depth with this head guy, doesn't it? And there's loads of secrets. There's a really
Oh
cool
yeah.
Monkey Island Easter egg area and everything like that. If you take the time to
Are
it,
are we
it's
really going to say?
I'm not going
Did
to
you
explain
really
everything, but that's what it is.
spoil that? Like,
I've told them
holy crap, that was.
spoilers. It's their choice, so
I thought it was going to be story-driven spoilers, not reference
it's the
spoilers.
same. But you end up you go on this island. You do a load of puzzles. There's a lot of platforming. So if you don't like
Yeah,
Sea of Thieves' platforming
pla-
controls, you may not
you're gonna
like
have a
this.
hard time.
Yeah, because we played with
Yeah,
Alucard, and bless him, he wasn't very good at the jumping, and we had a good laugh at his expense, bless him. But it was really fun. But then
if you are curious how that went, you can watch that video at Twitch on
yeah, and
Twitch.
it
No
will be up
worries.
on YouTube shortly. The live stream videos, I will
Exactly.
convert them over, but they are funny. We were stood at the top of this area playing the music, waiting for him to jump, and I think he missed it about 6 times, 7 times. Um,
Yeah, something like that. It was
and
quite
And
impressive.
then basically this tall tale, you sneak aboard the ship, and then all hell breaks loose. Obviously, because you free Jack Sparrow, the Dutchman pops
Yep.
out, and you have an epic sea battle blasting the Dutchman from either side with the cannons. You get boarded by these new crab monsters, which are really cool. And then
Hmm.
then that's how that one ends. Basically, Jack gets taken. Then it jumps into chapter two, Tall Tale 2. And do you remember what that one was called?
The name, I gotta be honest, I don't remember at all the names of each tall tale, but I know how to describe them.
I believe it was. Let me get this up because I don't want to get it wrong for people.
We are professional reviewers and podcasters, as
That's
you can
it.
see
Yeah.
at the
So,
moment. Like, we are just
um,
gonna check Google and see what happens.
I believe two is the Black Pearl tall tale, with the sunken Black Pearl. Now,
Yep,
this one was not in a private server sort of PvE area. It was in the public world, and a lot of the complaints about this Tall Tales, um,
was because of that specific fact. To
yeah,
be honest, like where you have the first tall tale that is totally about your immersion and your experiences within that new world and this new expansion, so you can get the hang of it and be excited for what's to come. You are back into the Sea of Thieves world, and then you have to deal with the worst part of Sea of Thieves, that are the players.
yeah. I mean,
I'm
we,
sorry. I'm sorry. The players are both the best, but and the worst part of the game.
yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of funny about that.
But we were
But
lucky.
we were lucky.
Yeah, we ended up bumping into a crew because we were taking a while because we were looking all over. Another crew caught us up that had more players,
Yep.
and normally that would end in getting absolutely wrecked by them and ruined. But actually, we played through. They didn't speak to us. We tried speaking to them with the in like game chat, and I got no response. But they played through, and we got
Exactly.
right to the end. This one involves a lot of mermaid puzzles, water-based physics puzzles, like you've got to move statues to raise the water and stuff like that to progress. And I really
I
like the
really
puzzles
enjoyed
in
that.
this one, and the underwater environments were beautiful. It was such a good-looking game. Um,
Yep.
so that one was really good. And then basically that cultivates and gets to the end, and you have a big, massive battle on a ship against a kraken, um, with a
You
head.
finally yeah, you finally see the Kraken's face. It's quite funny and quite interesting. But I gotta
Yes.
be honest that this this tall tale specifically was one tall tale that where I had this impression, but with every other, I had no thoughts about that, because the second tall tale I had the impression that, like, we would really love to have some sort of guidance where to go. There was a moment where we were clearly lost doing
Yeah.
that, and then we had the help of the random crew that just showed up there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, with every single tall tale that we faced before and after the second one, we knew where we had to go. We knew the objective. We knew how to do this. It it was like really fluid and pretty natural.
Yeah,
But with this second one, we were like, okay, what the hell do we do?
yeah,
You
exactly.
know
And
what I
it got
mean?
a bit confusing. So yeah, it was awkward, but it was gorgeous as well. And you got to see the Black Pearl, and you got to swim around it because it was obviously it's sunken at this point. But that
Yes.
was really cool, and we got to the end, and there was a couple of glitches, like when we were going to see the Kraken, and it just sat and froze for about 5 minutes. Like
Yep.
before we got there, but we got there, we got through it, but it was pretty buggy. But they did patch it after we finished it a day or two later. It did
Really?
get a patch, yeah, to sort of improve it for everyone, increase spawn rates because people were joining, and if someone had just beaten like the Kraken just before you and you get there, it doesn't respawn. So
Mm-hmm.
it was basically killing off people's progress. But that was really good. Then you move on to
Yeah, it was.
the third tall tale, which is Captain of the Damned, and this one you're basically looking for Jack Sparrow, and you start off by going to where Tiadama is in that sort of like bayou sort of overgrown sort of swamp. And we were lighting
Yep.
all those lanterns and torches, and then there was all the ghosts popping up, and it was like a bit of a backstory between Tiadama and Barbosa and stuff like that towards the plot. You don't see her
Exactly.
or him at this point. It's just the voices in her shed. But it was pretty
Yeah, one
cool.
thing that it was quite awesome, like for this Tall Tale specifically, for those who are big fans of the movies, this this Tall Tale is gonna be like pretty special for them because you re-watch, like you not watch, you who hear them, the dialogues from the movie, like you hear again the dialogue where Barbosa is resurrected and he asks where is his ship from the end of Pirates of the Caribbean 2. And like we know right now that this is just a reference that they decided to put there. But like when we were playing, we had the impression like, wait a second, what timeline are we doing this? Like, are we in the middle of the movies? Are we? Is this after the movies? What's going on?
Yeah,
Do you
exactly.
remember that?
Yeah, we'll
But it
talk about
was
that at the
quite
end because
nice.
the whole thing it gets more like that as you progress through the tall tales. But this one,
Oh yeah.
you basically you go to a few, you then sail through a portal and you go to a few different areas like little
Mm-hmm.
islands, and it progresses the story. You basically do a lot of platforming and puzzles, but you get to a village a town at the end, and it's basically the town from the ride.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so you go to the first one, you do a bit of story, you have a fight against the captain, like who's like Barbossa's like random skeleton man. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what happens. You then follow it. You're following the Black Pearl and this and Barbossa's ship, and you basically end up. It basically is like Tortuga, but it's got all the scenes from the ride with like the people getting put down the well and stuff. Um,
Exactly.
but it's all done in like
Exactly.
ghosts in sort of like this is what it used to be in the past and stuff. But the best thing about that was you can actually get on a boat and like sail the ride, can't you? As if you're going on the ride. And it's got the
That
sound
was
effects from the ride. It's even got bits that are exactly the same as the ride, and I love that.
that, that's what I was about to tell you. Like one piece of advice when you go to this third tall tale is that you will find a rowboat. Go to that. Find
Yeah,
sail in that rowboat and follow the path. Like you are going to feel just like you were in the ride. Like it's really well done. I
yeah.
really
You
enjoyed
go
that.
all the way around and come back to exactly where you've started, because and it doesn't affect the actual
Exactly.
tall tale, but it's just a fun little sort of nod to both
It
the
does give you
movies and the ride itself.
it does help you to get some collectibles that help you to get some achievements for what I
Yeah,
remember. So yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty neat to do it.
And then basically you get to the end and the island
And you
gets attacked.
discover yeah, and you oh yeah, you are going to talk about the island. Okay, I was going to talk way later
Oh
in
no! So
the
you basically get
in this
attacked on
talk
this
too.
island, fight your way off. You go on a boat. There's a battle between like the Black Pearl and Davy Jones again, and that you take part in briefly, and then you end up at a basically a tavern, like a undead, like cursed captain tavern, and I'm assuming that's the bit you're
Yep.
going to talk about. But as you're going in, you see the head of that captain, the captain, the skeleton captain from the first Tall Tale, so it sort of links into that. It's just sort
Yep.
of a nod. It doesn't do anything really, just has a conversation with you. But I thought that was really cool. And then I'll let you go from here because you walk in and it sort of
And you
hits.
find and you find the ghosts of every main character of the previous tall tales that were developed for Sea of Thieves. Like it was quite nice. Jack Sparrow interacting with all the classical ghosts from each one of those tall tales, and like they are just enjoying themselves. They are talking about how important it is their freedom within the Sea of Thieves and why it's worth it to fight for it. And Jack Sparrow gets inspired by it. Like it's really well done. I really enjoyed the dialogue. It was pretty well written, and
Yeah,
this was, and like in my opinion, this was the best voice acting part of the game. But yeah, we are going to talk about the voice acting overall at the end of it.
yeah.
So yeah.
So that's how that ends. Basically, he doesn't want to help the captains from the old Tall Tale episodes, which you should play through as well because they're all good. They basically
Yep.
convince him, and he gets on your boat, and you start sailing off, and then it's like adventure awaits, and it proper kicks in. Then the next one was called Dark Brethren, and
Yep.
in this one, I'm trying to remember what you do. You basically go to
We
Davy
faced
Jones has a
the
fortress.
yeah,
Um,
we in this one we get into the Flying Dutchman. We
yes,
fight inside it.
and mysterious lady is unveiled as spoiler Teodama after we've been
Uh
going on. It wasn't even
Jesus,
well hidden.
Jesus, yeah, this was this is one of the parts where that points out to me that this expansion is awesome but not perfect because like we are going to give you a character that talks like Teodalma, looks like Teodalma, she acts like Teodalma, and in the end she's revealed to be
Teodama,
Teodalma. Aha!
and you have
Congratulations, you won.
and yet she's still on about the Davy Jones thing, even though that sort of ends and they sort of have a definitive end to that in the Pirates movies. It's acting like that's still going on, which is a weird thing that this
Exactly.
goes on with the whole Tall Tales DLC as a whole. But the weirdest thing is that for some reason Davy Jones has a like an ice um, like fortress at the top of the map, and you're like, all right, so you end up going to this other
It's
fortress, and it's very odd. You basically fight your way through it and stuff like that. Um,
you face the gold hoarder skeleton there as a final boss.
Yeah, so you get onto Davy Jones's ship. You then fight to survive on it because you get attacked from all sides, and then you get to the end after doing a load of puzzles and stuff like that, and you come across Davy Jones and like you said, the Gold Hoarder's skeleton, who's like his right hand man in this one, and you fight them.
Yep.
But it's a weird battle because you're fighting all the enemies, and then Jack Sparrow's like running around above you doing Jack Sparrow stuff, which I thought was really cool. Um,
Oh yeah, he during the battle he will be giving you supplies
yeah, and
throughout the battle. Like
it's a nice little ending as well. It progresses the story, but there's not much to that one. This was the one that's the least memorable to me. The final
yeah,
battle is good, but the rest of it was just it was pretty generic, other than being
it
on
was. Yeah, the
the
third one
Dutchman.
was kind of throughout the way was pretty much a repetition of what we've done in the previous Tall Tales. Like the mermaids puzzles are the same.
Yeah,
The some of the cave locations are the same. Some of the chambers, like you will have some of how can I call this, the deja vu effect? Like you
Yeah,
will have that those to be honest.
it's like
Like
they put all the things in. Like in the first three, they introduce like new things in each one. Like the first one, they introduce something. In the second one, they introduce the sirens. In the third one, you get the sort of phantoms, and then in the fourth one, it's just like, oh, and there's all of it in one now.
yep. Like one thing that I that there's no way for us to not talk about it is the music.
Yeah, the music
The
makes the whole thing.
like
It's
like
amazing.
like the music is the only thing in my opinion that throughout the whole expansion is perfect in
Yeah,
every instance, every total, every moment you hear some instruments playing, you
yeah,
will think that that fits perfectly
yeah,
within that moment. Like it's pretty epic. It gives you, it helps you to get hyped for
yeah.
what's to come, to be honest.
And then we move on to the last tall tale, which is Lords of the Sea. And this is basically um,
The best,
you see a
to be in
giant
my
Davy
opinion.
Jones face in the sky, a cloud. You sail
Yep.
there. You have an epic battle with ghost ships, with the Black Pearl, with giant bloody um, mermaid statues. And this goes on for quite a while. You're like circling around this bloody fortress of Davy Jones, fighting all these ghost ships and stuff.
Yes.
You fight the Dutchman. The Dutchman joins and you fight it. And then basically, you get to a point where Jack's like, right, I'll deal with the Dutchman. And then you go on the island and you have to scale to the top of the island, like the fortress, have a little fight. And that was the worst bit for me because the sea battle is amazing, but then you just have
Yeah.
basically a wave fight at the top with ghosts and stuff like that, and that's it. And then it just ends. You like you
Not only,
stab, you
not
get the
only
heart or
you,
something like that, stab it, and like that's it. From
like not only, actually not only you have to fight through 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 your way against the enemies, but you have to fight against the platforming because there that
yeah,
Telltale specifically had a bit where we were really sucking at the
yeah.
platforming
It's
bits.
it's
Like
it's a lot of
holy shit.
like walking along masts and jumping to other platforms and stuff. But the first two-thirds of that um, Tall Tale are amazing. The ship combat, if it just had been on the ship, it would have been amazing. But you get off and it gets a
Oh
bit
yeah.
mundane. But then you get to the end, yay, everything's good again,
You
and there's a good send off. You get on
you
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 get
do
onto
find,
what were we
you
gonna say?
do end up finding some, yeah, you do end up finding more movie references, so I'm not
Yeah,
going to spoil
there's
them,
some other
but yeah,
characters that show up
pretty
from
neat.
the movies, which is nice. But and then at
Yep.
the end, you get on the Pearl, and it's sort of like a very nice farewell. Some of the Tall Tales captains stay on the Pearl, which I thought was great, and they join the Pearl as crew. Some of them are like, no, I've got to stay here
Yes.
and defend the Sea of Thieves, which could hint at future Tall Tales that they're going to be in.
Yep.
Um, and
Yep.
they do hint that there could be more pirates DLC because they're like, we will always come back. And then you get on your ship, you sail away, and it gets to a point, this great butte music plays, and the fucking
Mm-hmm.
it opens a portal, and the Black Pearl sort of sails away with the music, and you're like, wow, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, it is. And like one thing that I don't understand is that there was a video from a Sea of Thieves streamer. Like I'm not trying to say any bad things about her. Like I know she is pretty good at her job and she really enjoys Sea of Thieves. But like she was kind of crying at the end of it. Like she was so happy and she loved so much the expansion that she was crying. Like I didn't think to be that emotional. That
No,
ending
no.
it was quite awesome, but not to the point of me crying, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a really good ending, and it tops it perfectly. But it's just a shame there's that crappy platforming and rubbish fight in the middle. Which, if it had just been the battle and then that was it, and then that ending, I think that would have been a perfect tall tale.
I,
It feels
like
like they
I,
put
I,
that platforming in just to extend the length of it when it didn't need it.
like I think I end up considering this final Telltale the best one for me because of the beginning,
Yeah,
the ship battles,
yeah,
but
yeah,
also because of the, even though you are dealing with the platforming and the other stuff, you are still having that epic music, like everything depends on it. You need to go. Like it got me pretty hyped up. So I think that's why I end up liking so much this last talk sale.
Yeah, definitely. Now, overall, it's a really good DLC. It's free, can't complain. There are obviously a few caveats, a few problems. Obviously, there's the glitchiness of it when it first launched. A lot of this has been patched out now, so that's not a problem.
Yep.
Um, the griefing bits, which didn't need, they could have put that in a private instance, in my opinion, but it is what it is. The things that spoilt it for me the most were the voice actors not being the actual movie voice actors. Some of them are quite close,
Yeah.
but like Davy Jones doesn't sound at all like Davy Jones at a lot of points in the game. But Barbosa, Tiadama, and Jack are pretty good voice likenesses.
Gibbs.
Gibbs,
Gibbs
yeah,
also was quite well done.
but
Like
I don't believe
David
any
Jones
of them are
was
the
the
correct ones. And Davy Jones is really,
was kind of a disappointment, to be honest.
yeah.
Like
And then the other thing that spoiled it for me was obviously a lot of this links into things that have happened in past Pirates films. But then they've tried to sort of butcher it into Sea of Thieves, but then they've also sort of ignored Pirates of the Caribbean canon, so it only sort of references the first three movies, it ignores the last two
yeah,
movies, and
maybe for the best. Maybe it's
oh,
for the
exactly.
best.
I mean, the Blackbeard one is pretty cool. Ian McShane is awesome, but um, yeah, it's very strange that it's like, is it canon? Is it not canon? Does it? It doesn't follow its own law in some aspects of it, but if you just ignore that and enjoy it, you'll really love it. The plot's really good. There's a few bits though, like I say, it's glitchy a little bit,
Yep.
which pull you out of it at times. But yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of replayability. Like I say, we played through it, and we missed a lot of the collectibles and stuff. And if you get all the collectibles,
Yes.
you get extra weapons, extra items. If you get all
Ship
of the
sets.
commendations, you even get like the Pirate's Life song as well to play. As on your instruments, which is pretty awesome. So I highly recommend
Yes.
play through it and just enjoy the story, then go back and just look in every nook and cranny for all the items and the commendation bits, because I think you'll enjoy it if you just focus on the story, the cinematic feel of it, and then jump back in and get all the collectibles. But like I say,
Mm-hmm.
this expansion also added the phantoms, the sirens, and the crab people to the main game, as well as the um, tridents, so it adds extra content to the main game, not just this tall tale sort of standalone section. And
Yep.
it's pretty good. Like I say, one other criticism: the um, the paid packs, the costume packs, really good money, but there's like a Black Pearl themed ship set. It's like 20 quid, and
Ah,
it's so
Jesus.
boring and crud. It's the most naff an expensive ship set I've seen for Sea of Thieves, and that's a downside because the rest of it's pretty good. And they showed off that dog, and you have to buy the dog, even though that should to me should have been an unlockable. I don't mind the costumes in the ship,
Yeah,
but the dog should have been an unlockable in my opinion.
exactly. I do agree with that. Like the dog is just a pretty epic reference, to be honest. I'm just quite like I gotta be honest. I'm still kind of surprised that the ferryman has a living dog within his ship. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's curious.
it's very curious, isn't it? Um, uh,
Like, hmm,
so
there's something wrong going on.
this has been a massive bumper review. We're on like 30 plus minutes now, so thank you for staying with us to the end. What would you give this then out of 100? What would you score this based on how we played it?
Out of out of 100, like I do have to consider it that, in my opinion, if you have friends, play this with your friends. But if you like to prefer to play solo, I think you would really lose a lot of the epicness and the awesome experience that it is to play
Yeah,
with your friends, because we played together, me and Ash. We played also with Slayer and Alucard. It was quite awesome. We had a ton of laughs. Like, and for the expansion overall, I think that considering that it is a free upgrade, giving you cosmetics, a new story, new locations, and epic moments, a ton of reference, achievements, and all that kind of stuff. but considering also its flaws, like the some of the voice acting, some of the puzzles and locations being just a copy paste from other locations within the previous Telltales, and and the platforming itself was kind of a problem. Not that big of a problem, but kind of a problem. Yeah, considering all the cons and pros, I can easily give an 85 out of 100. To be honest, it
Nice.
was really well done. Rare, bring us more. I'm just getting more excited for with Sea of Thieves with each expansion that comes out.
Yeah, definitely. And I would give it an 80, mainly just because it doesn't have the proper voice cast. Now, if it had the proper voice cast, it would have been 85. And then the 15 docked is basically just for the glitchiness
Really,
and the grief. Yeah, I don't see why they couldn't have got the voice casted. They've got Microsoft and money. They could have got Johnny Depp. They could have got the actual voice cast. I wouldn't have even minded if they'd have used some of the movie dialogue and just like they did with the ride dialogue to do it. But and the fact
to be
the
honest,
weird
that to,
chronological sort of mistakes annoyed me a little bit. But it's still an amazing game. So 80 out of 100 for me. Um, and I look
yeah,
forward to playing through it for another go to get all the
yeah,
commendations and all the secrets.
for sure, for sure. So I think that's it.
Yeah, so if you've got Sea of Thieves, or even if you don't own it, you can play it absolutely free on Game Pass, on PC or Xbox, and the DLC is included for free, so there's no reason you don't play it. Even if you just play this and don't play Sea of Thieves, this is like a standalone 10-hour game, and it's worth playing it on your own. You don't even have to have played a lot of Sea of Thieves, really. So,
And for free,
yeah,
like for
exactly.
free, you don't even have to, oh, but I need to buy the game first. No, you can buy Xbox Game Pass and then play Sea of Thieves for free and the DLC for free. That's it.
Yeah, so go get it. It's probably the best bit of content Sea of Thieves has had so far, and hopefully we get more of this. Um,
Oh
that's
yeah, for sure.
that's that for this review. I hope you've enjoyed this massive bumper one. We'll probably do more like these going forward for some of the bigger games that we've played as a group or as like a podcast, like
It,
where most of us have played.
it wouldn't be an Xbox like party podcast review if it wasn't going to be a bumpy one, like especially because I'm here with you, so and you are not all by yourself there. So yeah, that's how
Exactly.
it goes.
So if you've enjoyed this review, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We do new reviews all the time. We do our weekly podcast every Saturday, 8 o'clock, British summertime at the moment. Obviously, whatever the UK time is, it's normally 8 o'clock. But at the moment,
Yep.
it's BST. And we will see you then. So bye for now and enjoy sailing the seas.
Thanks so much, everybody. Bye bye.